Click the first link in the description for the best Askreddit content. AITA for getting my neighbor's partner arrested. About a week ago, my cat got out and went missing for a few days. I was heartbroken. I put his litter box outside, hung flyers everywhere, and literally cried non-stop. It was bad. And I noticed someone was taking down my flyers. This made me really upset, so I started knocking on people's doors. One neighbor told me that she overheard her neighbor's kid excitedly thanking his mom for a new cat, and when I walked up their driveway, what do you know, my cat was sitting in their windowsill. He immediately started pawing at the glass when he saw me, and it broke my heart. I knocked on the front door and explained to the lady that answered that this was my cat. He's chipped and everything, so I have proof he's mine. She literally laughed in my face and slammed the door. I knocked again, and this time a huge dude answered and told me this is my son's cat, now go away, and slammed the door in my face. I went home and bawled like a baby. Called my dad, he's the county sheriff, to tell him what happened and to ask what I should do. He told me to stay home, and that he would send over a deputy to take care of it. Well, apparently the deputy let it slip that I was the county sheriff's daughter, and now the catnapper lady is telling everyone in the neighborhood I'm a spoiled brat who went crying to her daddy. But the thing is, I would have called the cops regardless. The only reason I called my dad first is because I was bawling and didn't want to sob on the phone to a stranger if I could avoid it. Plus I wanted his advice on how to get my cat back. Apparently the kid's dad also went to jail because the deputy ran his plates and saw he had a warrant, so this woman is also telling everyone I got her partner arrested, too. But how was I supposed to know the guy had a freaking warrant? I just wanted my cat back. AITA, edited for cat tax. NTA, he got what you deserved. He stole your cat. Are you gonna get your cat back? The deputy brought him back. He's curled up next to me right now. NTA, they stole your cat. Whatever they get after that is completely their own fault. Keep your kitty indoors though, so they can't get to it again. He is an indoor cat, he's just a little escape artist on top of it. NTA, she stole your cat! Exclamation mark. Were you able to get him back? Yes, thank God lol. Nata, shouldn't have stolen something, especially with a warrant. If you have a warrant you should actually address the warrant with the assistance of a lawyer. But if you are not going to, you should treat everyone like a saint and for the love of God stop committing crimes. AITA for not wanting to help my classmate after she outed my husband. My husband, Adam, is transgender and takes testosterone. He orders it online to arrive at a pharmacy. I decided to go back to school and get my degree. I'm 28F, last year, and there's a pharmacy on campus, so we agreed that he'd get his meds shipped there and I'd pick it up for him from now on. Early this year, January/February sort of time, I picked up Adam's gel. My classmate, Jess, saw me leave with a medication bag, and asked if I was okay, and I said it was for Adam. She then asked if he was okay, and I said he was. She asked me what I'd gotten him. I found this to be more than a little invasive, so I said it was private. After a few seconds she asked why I was getting him testosterone, which she'd managed to read off the label on the bag. Edit, to be clear, she doesn't work there. She saw me leaving then started walking with me to class. I couldn't think of an excuse, so I just told her the truth. My husband is trans, he's trying to be discreet about it, please don't tell anyone. She agreed and off she went. Within a few hours, everyone knew and I was on the receiving end of questions from several classmates about how my husband and I have sex and various other disgusting advances. They all said Jess had told them. At the end of the day Adam picked me up and people were ogling us, and he knew that they knew before I even said anything and he was crushed. About 8 months later, present day, Jess then caught the illness I don't know if I'm allowed to name. She's missed basically the whole first month of classes, and will probably miss future ones, 2. I make recordings of the lectures that I am willing to share with anyone who asks. She wants my recordings. She asked me for the recordings privately 6 separate times in the span of 3 days, and the first 5 times I said I'd let her know. 6th was the final straw for me and I told her to piss off. Last night she posted in the class chat saying, "Does anyone have recordings?" Op told me to piss off when I asked for hers. There were a few more exchanges and the conclusion is that I have the only recordings and I'm being a bitch for not sharing with Jess. I've muted the chat. My POV is that after she outed Adam, I don't want to help her at all. Everyone else's POV is that she needs my help, she's in extremely shitty circumstances, and this would be the right thing to do. Plus her outing him had no repercussions beyond people in my class knowing, while me not helping her could lead to her failing the next round of assignments. AITA for not helping her. ASH but your husband. She's the biggest asshole of all, but you outed your husband to her rather than stick to telling her to mind her own business. You're absolutely right to refuse to help her, but I hope you've made amends to him in the meantime, for breaking his trust and starting this mess in the first place. I hope you've made amends to him in the meantime, for breaking his trust and starting this mess in the first place. Absolutely. He doesn't mind so much, because we've both had to tell people about this before now. But I have made it up to him since then. I try and normally have an excuse good to go, but on this occasion I just drew a blank and figured if I was honest then I could make clear to keep it quiet and it would work. But in retrospect, considering how pushy she was when I said it wasn't her business, I should have just kept my mouth shut. Why is nobody talking about how Op outed her husband instead of straight up saying his medical history is none of your business? I know some people won't stop asking questions, but there was another way to handle it. Jess is the bigger R, of course, but still. ESH. Jess is clearly TA for outing your husband, and you're under no obligation to help her with her assignments. But you know who else outed your husband and broke his trust? You did. If he was trying to be discreet about it, the worst possible outcome is his wife telling a random classmate. You're the one that owes him the biggest duties of loyalty and confidentiality in his private affairs. You say you couldn't think of an excuse. Why give her one in the first place? When she asked why you were getting him testosterone, why didn't you simply tell her it was prescribed for him, private medical information, and none of her business? And by the way, did you really believe that someone willing to pry directly into that personal information would be discreet herself? Your husband's pain is largely your doing. NTA. The only problem I see here is you're still on speaking terms with someone who violated you and your husband's privacy. Edit, much thanks for awards. That is a problem. I've been trying to avoid her and just generally not speak to her, so we're on bare minimum contact, which is the class-wide group chat and being in some of the same classes. Personally, I cannot wait until graduation just so I don't have to deal with her again. AITA for refusing to apologize to my sil after she was rude during my daughter's birthday dinner. I, 39M, lost my wife earlier this year, then my job was affected by the pandemic. My daughter just turned 13, and knows we're not doing the best financially. My job picked back up thankfully, but we don't have a lot of extra money yet. For my daughter's birthday, I invited my parents, brother, and he invited Sil, to have a small dinner with us over the weekend. I really tried to make it enjoyable for my daughter. I made her favorite meal, spaghetti with my wife's meat sauce recipe, a copycat Olive Garden salad and dressing, and homemade garlic bread. I then was able to get a few small gifts for her. I even made a small cake. It was iced atrociously, but I tried. I have never liked my sil. She looks down at our family and she was always awful to my wife. Still, I'm usually able to be civil to her. And my dad wanted my daughter to open her gifts. I am thrilled because while it wasn't much, she seemed very happy about what she received from my parents and myself. My sil made snarky comments during dinner and gift opening, which I could tell irritated my daughter. Afterwards, my parents left, and my daughter went to FaceTime my wife's parents. I still stalked into the kitchen and started berating me about being cheap for her birthday and then saying, "What would your wife think?" I shouldn't have, and I admit I completely lost my temper, but I was so angry I told her my wife would be thrilled I managed to pull something together, including ignoring her snotty comments all night. But considering she showed up completely empty-handed but had no problem shoving her mouth full of the food I made, and criticizing everyone who did make an effort, she didn't have any room to be calling anyone cheap. She ran to my brother crying and they left in a huff. My parents called saying my brother was saying I was rude to his wife and ruined the night. Told them what happened and they are angry at Sil and my brother now. Brother is still blaming me and is now having a fit because I said she wasn't welcome in my home again, and if that meant not seeing him, so be it. My brother says I should apologize for being an asshole to keep the peace, but my dad says to stick to my guns and she doesn't deserve an apology. I do not plan to apologize, but AITA for it. Too long didn't read. AITA for making my Sil cry after telling her off after she'd been rude all night during my daughter's birthday. Never apologize to someone to keep the peace. It's disingenuous and tells them that their shitty behavior is excusable. She had the nerve to insult you as a guest in your home, and delivered a truly vile low blow when she asked what your wife would think. You let her off easy emo. Hard NTA. You do not need her bad energy in your life. NTA. She didn't bother to bring even a tiny gift for her niece. Not even a gift card. And she thinks she's not cheap. And then to eat your food, and constantly criticize everything, and to irritate the birthday girl. How rude. Do not let her back in until she can at least fake trying to be nice and kind and keep her comments to herself for after she leaves. Seriously, she didn't even attempt to pretend to be nice on her niece's birthday. Her niece's first birthday without her mother, during a pandemic. How utterly heartless to do that to a kid. NTA. Don't ever invite her again. NTA. Listen to your dad. He's right. Your Sil doesn't deserve an apology and your brother is way off base in his response. I particularly hate when assholes fake cry and act like the offended party. I think some people are dumb as all hell, and no offense but I'm gonna stick your brother in this category. Sometimes you gotta be blunt with what happened for them to even understand, especially if they're being manipulated by someone, Sil, to confuse the details, so I'd send him a text message with bullet points. Plus it's my daughter's first birthday without her mother, my first time celebrating my daughter's birthday without my wife, and your wife's rant was horribly insensitive and inconsiderate to us. Plus my daughter was upset with your wife's snarky comments throughout the night, and it dampened her birthday. Plus I'm financially struggling, and your wife berated me for being cheap. Plus I'm emotionally struggling, and your wife tried to use my recently dead wife to guilt me into not having more money. Plus your wife brought nothing to a birthday dinner, and still complained about everything. Plus we are still grieving and learning how to get by without my wife. We welcome support, but we don't need judgment and rude accusations from your wife. We expect an apology from the both of you, otherwise don't bother coming over again. We have to protect ourselves now more than ever, and I'm not going to let your wife think she has any right to treat us like she did that night.